Hi, friends. It's your pal Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons and Dragons and completely replacing all 28 millimeter with Lego. And what does that actually cost? Okay, so this is really fascinating. Okay, so here's where what does it take to actually use Lego for Dungeons and Dragons for all your miniatures and for all your terrain? All right. This is fascinating. It actually is four different numbers, depending on where you want to land. It's $40, and we'll talk about that. And that's for poor people. Um, we'll talk about that in a minute. Where I have landed is $400. It costs me $400 to completely replace 28 millimeter forever and have everything I need to run Lego to run Dungeons and Dragons using official Lego miniatures and official Lego terrain forever, and to be able to recreate virtually everything in Dungeons and Dragons and do it far better than I could ever do it with Dwarven Forge or with the best minis from Heroes Forge, right? Or Reaper Bones or anything like that. Anything like that. So $400 is my real answer. I really think you need to spend about $400 to completely abandon 28 millimeter and forever, and be way better off than you ever would have been with 28 millimeter. All right. You could also spend $4,000 on this, right? And last, you could spend $40,000 on it. All right, let's get into this. Okay. So what's the $40 option? The $40 option is really interesting. You could buy a Everyone is Awesome set. It comes with like 12 minifigs, and they're all different colors. Okay. They're like, they're all exactly monochrome colors, right? There's a red character, an orange character, a black character, a white character. It's literally every skin color plus a bunch of colors that aren't human skin colors. And it's quite interesting, right? Like it's an out. And if you buy that set, you also get some 2x4 regular bricks, and you can use those as the standees. And you can literally loot. You'll then have 12 official minifigs, and then you can move them around the table and get a lot done. You're no longer in Theater of the Mind. Your players can see where every player character is, where every non-player character is. It functions. It's real. You can so if you're poor, you can play. You can completely replace 28 millimeter for Dungeons and Dragons, and run Dungeons and Dragons with official Lego miniatures and official Lego terrain for less than for $40 maximum, right? You might even be able to buy two of those sets for $40, right? Depending on if you got a sale, right? But you can very much do it. You can run Dungeons and Dragons with Lego minifigs and Lego terrain for $40. That's real. And by the way, just in case you crawled out of a cave, the reason we're talking about this is Lego is 100% canon to Dungeons and Dragons. Dungeons and Dragons is 100% canon to Lego. All the Lego worlds are officially Dungeons and Dragons connected now. Which is fantastic. And every minifig that they ever made is made at Dungeons and Dragons scale for a reason. And all of their terrain is perfectly usable with Dungeons and Dragons, right? And that was announced in 2022, and it became a reality in April 2024, right? All right, so let's talk about where I am, right? I'm in the $400 bracket. So at this point, I'm incredibly blessed, and this could be more difficult for you, or it could be very easy for you, depending on where you live. But I live near Philadelphia, and we have a lot of wealth here, right? So, like today, I went on a trip, and I stopped at the Lego shop, and I bought actual sealed Lego sets, brand new from the official Lego store. Then I just went a little farther, right? And I stopped. Actually, it was an hour away. It was a half an hour to the Lego shop for me. It was a half an hour more to the secondhand Lego shop, which is very different and very needed for dungeon masters if you're going to run Lego. So they had a huge table. The secondhand Lego shop had a huge table, and that table was filled with every type of individual Lego piece that you could ever want to run Dungeons and Dragons. Okay, as far as equipment, not minifigs. We'll talk about minifigs separate. Okay, so for the minifigs, right? Or I'm sorry, for the equipment, every type of sword, like bows, arrows, and not just in color, but every type of sword in like black, gold, silver, white, brown, right, gray. It's wild, right? And so you could get every type of sword you would need for Dungeons and Dragons: short sword, long swords, scimitar-like swords, katanas, little stabby blades, everything you need, everything in the equipment guide, right? In addition to that, you can get bags and food like carrots and bread, right? Like all kinds of different things, right? And I've done that twice, and I'm actually finished now. I've spent $200 on the 50-cent a piece table, and I've got gems, and I've got dragon eggs, and I've got, oh my gosh, I've got like every fish, right? Every possible little thing you could ever want is going to be there. By the way, spears, right? Short swords, long swords, crossbows, and even if you're running, like D20 Modern or D10 or 20 Future, laser guns, everything, it's all going to be there on the 50-cent table, right? Now, I've made 2 trips and spent $100 each time. I spent $200 on 50-cent pieces. So I could mock out virtually every single piece of equipment you would find in the Dungeons & Dragons guide, and not just for one character, but like for 4 characters. I could field 10 villains with spears, right? I could field 20 villains with different weapons, right? And I can fulfill whatever is needed by the player characters who chose specific weapons, right? Very specific. Now, the other thing is, why would we do this? Why are we looking to get rid of 28 millimeter? 28 millimeter sucks. It is the absolute worst. And they're all over the country. There are poor guys who have a bunch of useless 28 millimeter stuff. And they have a different, like, if you want a character with a bow in their hand, you need to buy a different figure for it, right? What if they have a crossbow and a sword? You need a different figure. What if they're a skeleton? You need a different figure, right? And so it's a terrible, terrible model. Whereas with Legos, you get minifigs, and then you get whatever weapons you need, and then you could put whatever weapons you want. You could even armor them. You could put helmets on them. You could put wizards' hats on them. You can put different hairstyles on them. It's incredible, right? It's so much better. It's not even remotely comparable. Lego is just a phenomenally better model for using, and much more economical than 28 millimeter ever will be. And I know, guys, man, it is sad. They have these basements and they have thousands of dollars of miniatures, right? And in order to do anything of significance with 28 millimeter, you will spend thousands of dollars, and it won't even be that great of a collection, not nearly close to what you could do with the $400 I'm talking about with Lego, right? Okay. So I have talked about the $200 I put into the ephemera, the swords, the weapons, the bows and the arrows, the fish, the bowls, right? The cauldrons, all that stuff, okay? Now let's talk about minifigs. All right, so here's where the rubber meets the road. So getting Lego minifigs, so first of all, you absolutely should buy Everybody Is Awesome. That you could keep buying that, right? That is a phenomenal set. It gives you 12 minifigs in every possible color. And that is incredibly useful for player characters and non-player characters, right? Now, so that's great. And also, just so you're aware, you have a large array of fantasy minifigs available for Dungeons & Dragons. And they look fantastic, and they come from Lego Castle, they come from Lego Medieval, they come from Harry Potter, they come from Lego Lord of the Rings, and finally, they come from Lego Dungeons & Dragons, right? There's an entire set of minifigs out for Lego Dungeons & Dragons. So between them, you can get everything you could possibly want, right? Now what I have is a mixture of stuff that looks exactly like a Dungeons & Dragons character to stuff that is like a monochrome minifig, which you could do everything I said before. You can put a cape on them. You can put, weapons in their hands. You can put skis on their feet, whatever you need, right? Like it's really powerful. And then I have a mixture of super high detailed figures and then super low resolution, right? Like just, this is a monochrome minifig, and I put whatever weapons they want. And I don't use a hairpiece. They don't have a smile on their face, right? Now, why would you need a mix of both? Well, for your main villains and maybe their henchmen, you want high detail, right? And then for your player characters, you want high detail as well, right? You want to be able to give them good high detail, right? And so you could do all of this, and then you will spend another $100 to get your minifigures. Last, you'll spend $100 to get terrain, right? And that terrain could be all green, black, silver discs. You'll get some doors, all this kind of stuff, right? And the nice thing is you can get this all brand new. You can order exactly what you need online, or you can get it used at used Lego shops, I have 2 Lego shops within 30 minutes. Actually, one of them is an hour away, and then the other one is about 30 minutes away. And I have to tell you, doing this does require both at the $400 level, okay? Now, here's the kicker. What if you want every minifig to look pure Dungeons & Dragons, and you want every building to look pure Dungeons & Dragons? That's going to cost you $4,000. Now, what if you want to be able to out every single thing that you will? What if you want to be able to sit for 2 weeks and build out exactly a dungeon that you need? That's going to cost $40,000, right? Like, and the nice thing is, there's a possibility at some point I will have a $4,000 collection. If I ever win the lottery, I'll have a $40,000 collection. But these numbers are on purpose, okay? One of the things is, one, you should consider playing Dungeons & Dragons. You should consider selling every 28 millimeter you have and spending $40 to replace it with the $40 model. If you're like me, if you're listening to this channel, you could easily afford the $400 model, right? So do it. It's worth it, okay? The other thing that I think is, if you $4,000 model is great, and if you are a millionaire, you should do the $40,000 model, right? So, but you shouldn't go more than that, right? And I think that's important to understand, that there are these 4 different models for doing Dungeons & Dragons Lego, right? And at this point, everybody should be abandoned 28 millimeter minis. They are absolute junk, and they're junk. They're junk. And honestly, if you're a player, you should start refusing to play at tables that use 28 millimeter, in my humble opinion. Every single word you just heard in this video is my humble opinion. The important part is when I get to hear your humble opinion. When you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider subscribing and have a fetch millennium.